Hi everybody, my name is Francesca Paielli and today I'm going to review a book titled The Butchering Art, Joseph Lister's Quest to Transform the Grisly World of Victorian Medicine. This book, published in 2017, was written by the historian Lindsey Fitzharris, who creates a critical turning point in the history of medicine, when Joseph Lister renewed surgery from a brutal practice to a respectable profession that was actually able to save human life. The title of this book refers to the way Victorian surgery was seen and judged by the society of that time. Surgeons were considered no more than butchers, who had a strong stomach and enough strength to tear apart limbs in the shortest time as possible. A great example of this can be found in the figure of Robert Liston, who is mentioned several times by the author. In the 11 chapters of this book, Lindsey Fitzharris brings to life the deadly sights, smells and sounds of the Victorian hospitals, were known as gateways of death due to extremely high mortality rate of surgeries. The author, however, does not focus her attention only on the biography of Joseph Lister. She provides historically accurate details on other protagonists of history of medicine, and she also depicts in a remarkable vivid way the historical background of that time, describing the Victorian London, the negative effects of industrialization, the potato famine in Ireland, and much more. In this gloomy landscape, the author narrates the life of Joseph Lister, a young, melancholy surgeon who changed forever the way surgery itself was perceived, by making the audacious claim that germs were the source of all infections and could be treated with antiseptics, in a time where the majority of men of science believed in the miasma theory. Lister was born to a prosperous, educated Quaker family in 1827. His father, Joseph Jackson Lister, was a pioneer in the design of achromatic object lenses for use in compound microscopes. This aspect was extremely important because his son was the only surgeon who believed in a useful application of the microscope in medicine. Before graduating at the Royal College of Surgeons, he attended an art school and applied his artistic talent to his medical studies. After being a dresser for Dr. Erickson, he moved to Edinburgh, where he met Dr. Syme, who admitted him at the Royal Infirmary. In Edinburgh, Lister conducted a series of physiological experiments until he was appointed Regius Professor of Systematic Surgery at the University of Glasgow. In 1865, after being introduced by Thomas Anderson to the work of the French chemist Louis Pasteur, Lister confirmed his conclusions with his own experiments and decided to use his findings to develop antiseptic techniques for wounds. In the same year, Lister achieved success for the first time when he used carbolic acid to disinfect a compound fracture. Although Lister was so widely honored in later life, his ideas about the transmission of infection were widely criticized in his early career. Lister was the first one who instructed those that attended the surgeries with him to not only wash their hands with a solution of 5% of carbolic acid, but also to wear gloves and to disinfect the instruments as well. Of course, at that time, they didn't have plastic instruments or instruments that could use only once, but they tried to disinfect them with the same kind of carbolic acid solution. I just showed you how surgeons dress nowadays, but of course during the Victorian era they used to wear something different. They used to wear just everyday life clothes, like this for example, a coat or a blouse. Before Lister introduced his theory about germs, people strongly believed in another theory, which was the miasma one. So they believed that every kind of disease had something to do with the bad hair, and for this reason they didn't wash their hands at all between operations. Of course, surgeons not only did operations, but they also had to do with bodies in the operating theaters. So for that reason, there was a highly spread of germs between operations, and for that reason a lot of people not only died during those operations, but if they survived, they died from gangrene or other kind of infections. But of course there was no kind of electricity at that time. At that time they just had candles.